And indeed, the uttering of, shall we say, unpopular views is important in any functioning society, rather than telling people that they can't have them at all. Well, somebody who experienced the full ferocity of, if you like, cancel culture last week was Louise Wallace. Louise joins us on the phone now, and welcome to the show. How are you, honey?
How are you?
What have you been doing? I understand you're late because you were cat grooming.
I was. You sounded like a screaming baby, but it was actually Millie, my 14-year-old rag doll who was full of knots. So yes, it's never pleasant, but anyway, it's all done now, so that's good.
Oh, I've got one of those. I've got a rag doll. She adopted me, but they are. Yes, you're right. They are an unusual cat.
Yeah, they're lovely.
All right. Talking about, well, you were involved in a bit of a cat fight yourself, if I may sort of segue to that. You were on AM, Louise,
yep.
which was it's the News Hub, the old News Hub show that Paul Henry and all those used to be on.
The breakfast show, on News Hub with Ryan and Melissa, yeah.
And you have a view about the discussion about obesity statistics. Is this how this all kicks off?
Yeah. So we're given topics to look at, on the morning of the show, and there are about 3 or 4. So you never really know, because sometimes they're dropped at the last minute.
So you're a regular columnist. You're not just just come in for that day.
No. I'm on every 2 weeks, and I've been doing the AM show for, maybe 6 years, 5 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Mm.
So, just can I go quickly to, has there been any consequence that you might not be getting invited in 2 weeks' time?
Oh, no, absolutely not. I mean, Ryan and Melissa have been in touch with me, and they'll see you next time.
All right, okay. Now, give us the background. Sorry, I interrupted you. You're going to the show, obesity comes up, and you, somewhere along the line, were talking about plus-size models, I think.
No, that was a Real Housewives term, plus-size model. No, what happened was, so first of all we discussed gangs and, how do you feel about gangs? And, it's all bad and, it's got to come down hard. What you do, I don't know. I've got no idea. But something needs to be done, blah, blah, blah. Next one, obesity. Our appalling obesity statistics. And they're just getting worse and worse and worse. And they said, what do you think about that? And then jokingly I said, oh, God, put some gaffer tape over their mouth, i.e., in other words, shut your mouth to stop eating. But as, tongue-in-cheek, obviously. And then I said, I don't know, we had a bit of a chat about it, and I said that I think part of the problem was that being overweight is now normalised, and I didn't say glamorised, but really that would have been a good word to say, because it's featured a lot in advertising. And so people are thinking, well, it's okay to basically get bigger and bigger and bigger. And, that's pretty much in a nutshell what I said.
Now, the reaction to that has been interesting, and you would have seen over the weekend Valerie Adams having a go at you as well.
Yeah, she told me to punch myself in the face.
Yes, she did.
Yeah. And then she withdrew her post.
Right.
She deleted it.
So do you think she thought she overreacted?
Well, you usually delete a post because you think, oh, hang on a minute, maybe that's not great.
No.
And I don't think that any post which basically advocates violence is terribly good.
Yes, well, I think you've got some backing of there because there's a fist emoji accompanying that, and you would have seen that as well.
That's right.
Mm.
Yeah. So, I think that's a bit OTT. And I mean, you've got to think, well, is that how you solve problems? Is that how her thinking is, that you solve problems, or when you disagree with people,
Well,
is that what you do?
To be honest with you, in Valerie Adams' world, possibly yes. She's always been a pretty aggressive woman, I have to say. I
don't know whether she's aggressive or not. I mean, God, to throw a bloody shot, but you've got to be aggressive, I would have thought. I mean, it weighs about 7 kg. So I cannot vouch for that. I don't know. I would be surprised if she was, I'd be very surprised. I can't.
All right, I'll
really...
rephrase that. Assertive.
Yeah.
All right, and she uses vernacular language, so that might be that's a better way of putting it. Okay. Having said that, though, the main point that she was making to you, Louise, was that she was a size 18 to 20, and I detected in her outrage some personal. What's the word? She took it personally, I guess. Did you detect that as well?
Yeah. Yes, I think so. I suspect that, she'd have a massive following. It's Polynesian, obviously, and, people. And I think just somebody contacted her and said, are you aware of this, and what are you going to do about it? But Valerie Adams is not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about morbidly obese people. That's not Valerie Adams.
Right.
She's a world class.
But almost every listen, I've read. Did you read the Stuff commentary from some journalist who was also getting stuck into you, who's clearly overweight as well? What I'm trying to say to you is that there is a bit of a tendency here, I think, of overweight women to argue that what you said was insensitive and inappropriate. That's the first thing.
Yes.
Two,
yes,
it seems that they felt that was something that was personally directed at them, even though obviously it wasn't. But thirdly, they then argued, and this was the key issue, that somehow you've endangered the lives of young women who are having body image or eating disorder issues. What's your response to that?
My response is that body issues and eating disorder issues have been around since time immemorial. It's not something that's just happened. When I was at school, people had eating issues. I had eating issues when I was at drama school because they said to us, if you get fat, you're out. So, we used to eat packets of chocolate laxatives every weekend. So it's not something, it can be caused from a variety of reasons. And a lot of it is, it's more a mental side of thing or an emotional side of thing, or, you've had your heart broken or So I don't believe that anorexia or obesity or what will, it's just not new. It's not new.
Well, it is new in one sense, Louise. You can just look out the window and say, take a picture, and then look out the window 25 or 30 years ago and take a picture. And
what I'm saying is anorexia is not new.
No, but I'm saying that obesity is relatively new. Doesn't it seem to you that one of the problems or one of the reasons we'll never be able to confront obesity in this society is because we can't tell people that they are overweight, otherwise they'll be sensitive about it?
Yeah, but doctors do. I'm not a doctor, but I'm sure, if you go to the doctor, surely, and you get on the scales and...
I bet you I don't think doctors do, Louise. I don't think they do.
Oh, they must. Surely they do.
No.
When that's their job.
I think that you've got your 15-minute consultation. They want you to get out that door. They want to make sure you come back. You don't leave the things. They don't want to offend you. I'm pretty sure they don't pop you on the scales immediately and say, now, you've come in for a cold. I'll put you up there. Oh, my God, you're obese. I bet you they don't. Do you? Seriously?
Well, Jesus, if I was a doctor, I would. I mean, surely, because it's not just going to affect you having a cold. It's going to, the ironic thing, I'll tell you, there's a few funny things about this, but the ironic thing is that in the Herald this morning, there's an article about what men die from.
Yes, I saw that.
And sure, the main thing is, prostate and that sort of thing. But there's also heart disease. And, what's causing heart disease? It's people eating too much fat. There's a lot to do with it. Not everything, but a lot to do with it. So it's okay when the Herald says it and that, that they get somebody to say it and they're saying the bleeding obvious. But when I say the bleeding obvious, there isn't. The other thing is that the social media mafia, God, I tell you what, it's such a fascinating world. It's such a diabolically vile world, really. So people, once they know they've got a voice on their little platforms, then they turn on you and they say, oh my God, look at your hair, it's revolting. Look at your eyes, you look like you're on pee. What else do they say? Oh, yeah, God, you're just full of Botox and filler. Or, my God, you're so wrinkled. Then I had somebody say, I've got photos of you with your cocaine dealer. I've got photos and I know who you buy cocaine off every week.
Yeah.
And I've got photos. And I said, John, God, that sounds, can you send it? I said, I'd really like to see those. You know, I mean, honestly.
What platforms are those? Is that Instagram? Is that Twitter? Facebook.
No.
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook. Yeah.
So they were meant to. Well, I guess the thing that comes out of that is that ironically, you've been the subject of vile bullying as a consequence of saying something that at the best could get characterised as insensitive.
That's right. Absolutely. And yes, I have, yeah. But I mean, you know, that's with Housewives, we were a bit, but I got away pretty scot-free, really. But
you did indeed. I was just saying to you that you were the one that got out of that very easily. That's because you didn't say anything stupid, though, Louise.
No, I didn't. But I don't think I said anything stupid on the AM show. I was asked my opinion and I gave it. If I had not been asked my opinion, and I just blurted that out, that's different. Yeah. But they said, what do you think? Mm-hmm. And I said, I think this.
Yep. No. Listen, I don't have a problem with what you said. I got into trouble a couple of months previously. In fact, they tried to ban me from a public building in Dunedin for commenting.
Why?
Because I said that Kim Kardashian, in actual fact, didn't have the kind of figure that I'd be aspiring to, and that I didn't think she could run 100 metres.
Right.
Because, you know, she's got this lovely photo of her face and she always photoshops everything she does, but she's meant to be characterised, a young woman, as the figure that you want to aspire to. Bugger off, I said. She's got one of the most unathletic figures I've ever seen in my life. So, there you go. And so I was to be banned from a public building in Dunedin for saying that. But you see, by a morbidly obese woman who was to make the decision. And that's that was the point that I guess I'm trying to make to you now, is that I find that the sensitivity in trying to address the obesity issue is hamstrung by the fact that you can't possibly tell mostly a woman that she's overweight. And
I think yes, I do agree with that. Yes, I absolutely do agree with that. I also agree that you can be overweight and fit. I'm not talking about just being overweight. I'm talking about being obese and getting worse.
Yes.
And if you only are 5 foot tall, me, I don't even know what that is in centimetres, it shows my age, I don't care. If you're only 5 foot tall, but you are a size 16, then, you know, you're asking for trouble, aren't you?
No, I agree with you.
On your joints, on your heart.
Yep.
There is a correlation between weight and cancer.
Oh, listen, everything that you say about obesity is right. No one's got a problem with that. It's the moment, that you try and translate it into the individual, that suddenly it all goes wrong, and then you'll get accused of...
Yeah, I think fundamentally, though, what this is about me, who I am, and what I've got.
So you think it's because of your relative wealth and because of your persona and because you did that reality TV show of Housewives?
It wouldn't have even been Housewives. It would have been because that wouldn't have helped, but it's because I'm white, middle class, and, you know, have a lovely life. Things are good. That's not to say that, you know, shit won't happen. That's just life. But it's more, yes, I think a lot of it was the tall poppy.
Right. Okay.
And you can tell that by the comments.
Your comments on social media.
Did you see the article that came out from the Herald? And there was a journalist, Vera Alves. She only looks like she's in her 30s, I think. And she basically said that my comments were a basis of privilege and capitalist structure.
No.
And so I looked at her profile, and it said, you know, and she said, living the good life in Wanaka. And I thought, my God, here's somebody who's a champagne socialist talking about, you know, privilege and capitalist structure, and she lives at one of the wealthiest areas of New Zealand.
Yes. Yes.
You know?
Yep. Now,
Complete hypocrisy.
right. I guess you're going to get that hypocrisy in opinions. Nevertheless, what you're saying is, what I haven't seen is a lot of people come out and support you, and publicly.
Oh, I have. No, I have. I have had a lot of support.
Oh no, I'm not suggesting you don't get it privately, but people are scared to say something publicly.
Absolutely. No, they're scared to. Oh God, yes. The people that have on social media, they have just been shot down, and then people turn on them. It's sort of like, it's like watching, I don't know, it's like watching a group of rats sort of racing towards some sort of target, some sort of bit of cheese, and then another bit of cheese pops up, 50 metres on the right, so they all change direction and go to that bit of cheese, and then they change it, that's, if I can use that analogy.
Yes, the bit that, that interview, that New Zealand Herald piece, Louise, can I just read it to our listeners so that they know what you're talking about? While there are individual solutions to individual issues, it's not okay to put the blame on individuals for problems caused by the capitalist structure that we currently live in. You cannot create a society that conditions people to live a certain way, then blame them for the way they live. And so that was her argument essentially as to why you were wrong. Because it was all due to capitalism and all due to the fact that the society in which you lived in encourages you to get fat.
Yeah, well, yes, basically. And then there's a few lines down, something about privilege. But,
Yes.
So,
No. Listen, well, can I say publicly, I support you for what that's worth.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
I think that unless there is an honest discussion about obesity affecting you as an individual, you will never change. And this is one of those issues in which if you decide to take action, you can change it yourself. And that's the bit that seems to be missing.
That's right. There are incredible tools out there and people who want to help you to change if you want to change. And there's no point in being in denial, And these are the people I heard from who have lost, who thought, oh my God, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of being sore all the time, my joints, of being big. And so they have lost tens of kilos, 43 kilos, 35 kilos, whatever. And they've said, thank God I did. Best thing I ever did. My self-esteem has just absolutely tripled. I feel like I'm newly alive.
And we should try and help those people to make those choices, but we don't see anything. There's no public health campaign in New Zealand to try and make you do those things or to assist you, are there? And that's the thing that's missing to me, is that if I do want to lose weight, it's really something that I've got to search out for myself and try for myself. You'll be interested to also that Britain is now on this line of the public health obesity campaign, and they're going after two things. One, reduce the amount you eat. Two, exercise. And that's the British prescription. Yeah. Pretty simple.
I know. It's quite simple. Hey, it's a no-brainer, really. I mean, somebody just reduce the size of food on your plate.
Yep, and think about what you're eating.
And it will make a difference. Now, one thing I do have to say is Ryan was absolutely right when he said there are other issues that cause you to be overweight. And he is right in terms of, say, if you're on steroids or whatever, you can blow up, and that's completely different. I'm talking about being morbidly obese due to eating too much. And that's basically all I'm talking about.
All right, Louise, thank you very much for joining us on the show.